Greetings, everyone. Thank you and welcome. My name is Angelic Alchemy Meenakshi, and I am here to discuss a beautiful session we had towards the end of the year 2023, literally in the last few days of December 2023. It was my last session for the year, so it was a beautiful wrap up and a perfect wrap up to the year. If you don't know about me, I practice angelic alchemy holistic healings, which have various healing sessions under the umbrella. I practice past life regressions, angelic alchemy Reiki, Akashic records reading, as well as I am a spiritual mentor. So if you want to know more about me, you can visit my website, which is angelicalchemyholistichealing.com. And I am on various social media platforms as YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, Rumble by the same name, Angelic Alchemy Holistic Healing. So thank you so much for being here. Happy 2024 to your beautiful family and you. And I hope you all have a blessed, beautiful year and years and lifetime ahead. Thank you. So let's get started. In this healing, the client was seeking healing for herself. And the client, being a healer herself, is very aware and completely in sync with, completely in sync with shadow work and inner work, and had realized that there was some sort of frequency or energy that she was trying to shift within her. However, she needed some help to really go deep within and see if that frequency was directly in her, or it was around her, or another self. And so that's how the session started. The session is a short clip. I think it's going to be about 18 or 20 minutes. And Source is speaking through the entire session because Source was doing the healing for her. And later we realized that as Source was speaking, which was basically Shiva and Kalima were channeling through her for the healing. So Shiva and Kalima as Source taught us a lot through this session. And this 18 to 20-minute clip is a very, very detailed wisdom on everything related to fear and lower emotions, and how these lower emotions manifested into humanity, what the real reason for that was, the seed point for it within creation, and how it rippled out, and over time how it went from being organic to getting inorganic attachments. So Source, obviously, Shiva, Kalima, and Source, they do such a beautiful job of explaining that, so I won't be touching upon that because they've very, very clearly and beautifully explained it. Also because the client herself has done so much inner work and shadow work and has so much deep wisdom within her. She's a beautiful channel for this wisdom to flow through. So I'm infinitely grateful for her. I've learned a lot through her sessions. So what I wanted to discuss was the main aspect or emotion that we were really healing, or feeling that we were really healing in this session, was fear, at least in this segment of the session. The session had various segments, and we didn't plan it like that, but there were various aspects that were being picked up for healing for her, and therefore it was also rippling into the collective, because this client, as we all know, we have different spiritual archetypes within us, which basically means, when we say spiritual archetype, what it really means is, it is what are the codes that you carry within your soul's blueprint, within your DNA. And therefore, those codes that you have within you would translate into the work that you came here to do for the collective, and, of course, for yourself, and then for the collective as well. So you carry those gifts and those keys to make changes, positive, benevolent changes within yourself and in the collective. And one of the things that this beautiful client works on is removing illusions from herself, from the environment, from people, helping people see through the illusions, being able to see through the veil, and then also bringing with her a lot of transformational energy. And there are various ways that she does that. And Source really explains through the session how she does that. And it's a beautiful example because many of us here are carrying similar codes, but not everyone has tapped into that within them. And also sometimes, even when we're working through it, uh, we don't know other ways that we can actually follow that can really help us to bring about that change, that peace that we're looking within us, that healing that we're looking within us. So I hope this session really helps you with respect to that as well. So looking at the theme of 2023, as we started the year, what I could feel, and what my beautiful guides were channeling through and sharing with me in dream time as well as in meditation and through sessions was that Earth Mother is going through a phase of really looking into tapping into the darkness that lies within her energies and the people and the beings that exist and live here. And cycle of evolution over time, Earth has had many incarnation of herself as well. One of the things that our collective Earth Mother has been working on this year, 2023 has just gone by, and it's going to ripple into 2024 as we're going to continue working on it, was shadow work. And earlier in the year, I had made a video and I'd shared a video on how to get through the dark night of the soul. I'm thinking I'll make a synopsis of it and make a crisper video. So I'm going to share more in detail about working through the dark night of the soul. And as we know, our collective went through a huge stage of really looking within, starting from 2020, as we know what happened to our collective with, the V that came in. And everything that the collective went through, the fear energies and the power game and everything that played along, the manipulation that happened of the people in power and people in fear, how they were triggered by the environment and what they were being told. And then last year, we as a collective looked very deeply into this fear, and we were all healing this fear within ourselves and therefore rippling it out um, into healing the collective as well. So, what we also will notice in this video, and this is something that I strongly and highly urge and suggest or guide people to do, is as you're healing yourself to also remember that energy is quantum. It resides all over universe. Our universe is energy, and each soul. So your soul, so every soul is linked in is linked infinitely to the various fractals, fragments, and aspects and incarnations of the same soul within the universe. You cannot be separate from your main soul. And therefore, if you look into that, there is a 3D aspect of you, 3D life form that you are living in and existing in and experiencing here. While you're doing this, there is also another aspect of you or other versions of you here on earth, which are going to be parallel realities that you are living and experiencing different versions, aspect, and choices. And at the same time, there are different aspects and incarnations of you in other dimensions and other planetary systems and other realms, other universes as well. So, since we are all so closely linked, what happens is a lot of times when we're trying to heal something and we're trying to get to the bottom of something, and you've done all the work that you've done, and you've done all the healings, you've done the meditations, guidance, you've followed all the guidance, and you've done the shadow work and the inner healing, and yet you come across that you still feel the need to continue healing yourself because there is still something which is still stuck and you're not being able to let go of it. To now, in that moment, remember that there might be another aspect of you in another dimension that has a direct contract with you to be healing something on earth. And you might be a channel to that healing, a vessel to that healing. Therefore, you might want to tap into that aspect of yours, as well as if you look at the underworld, which is basically the inverted matrix, you can say, but also it's quite literally the underworld. So if you see like the top world where we are living, the underworld would be the lopsided version of it, where all of the dark aspects, the inversions are being held. There are a lot of souls in captivity there as well as if there were any aspects of even benevolent souls that came in as, higher as like as ascended masters or benevolent beings that came in, but somehow some aspects of them, if they were inverted, if they got inverted or triggered or got stuck in the matrix, there are aspects of them as well in the underworld. So trying to really go within you to see if there are other aspects of you that need healing, and therefore as you heal that aspect of yours, um, it's like a beautiful ripple effect, and zip, all versions of you will be healed at the same time. As you will see in this session as well, the client goes into a timeline, dimension. I think it was a seventh dimension where there was another version of her holding a lot of fear within the heart. And here, when I was doing the energy work for the client prior to the hypnosis, as I was working on her heart chakra, I did see a massive cloud of it just clouds, like clouds of energy basically. And I asked Archangel Michael and Divine Mother, what that cloud was, and they said that was basically fear. They said that she's holding fear in her heart, and we'll explain more later. And then, obviously I did not tell her what I had seen, because then after that she directly goes into the session and she sees exactly that when she goes into the session. And then they explain what that cloud of fear was within the her here and within the her in the seventh dimension, and how healing that energy within the heart there in the seventh dimension and the her here rippled out onto earth. So it's beautifully explained later, so I'll let you watch that. However, remembering to also connect into your spiritual archetype and what you came to do here, because that remembrance, when you remember yourself and what you came here to do, will help to speed up your work here and will ensure that you make the highest, brightest, most beautiful, benevolent choices for your highest timeline, for yourself and for the collective. So sometimes you might have noticed that we tend to feel very heavy in some parts of our body. It could be the heart, or it could be root chakra, and not feeling grounded enough. Say, for example, not feeling grounded enough, and feeling restless, feeling anxiety, and the person's done everything that they wanted to heal for that. Now, again, you'll need to look into it and see, is it your own energy? And the other thing that I wanted to touch base upon, so I don't want to digress, is, but it is a part of this, is that we cannot spiritually bypass the work that we are meant to do. Everyone that is here that is aware that we need to heal ourselves to, better our expansion and our chances of and choices of expansion here on earth, we need to heal ourselves. Now, there are some people that remember that and some people that don't remember that. So the ones that remember that, especially, the healers, light workers who are aware of all of this, sometimes some people tend to, and it has happened with my clients as well, and we've seen it in sessions as well as you see in sometimes in the nature of some beings, it would be there very deep seated within that. The biggest mistake that people can make, while being here in the matrix, is thinking that they're all love and light. They're all love light, and there's no shadow within them. I've done my job, and I'm perfect. I'm all light, and I only hold love and compassion in my heart, and nothing else. So if I'm feeling an emotion which doesn't feel right, which is sadness, anger, depression, it mustn't be mine. So sometimes people can mistake that they're, and they don't need to do any more work because they've done all their shadow work, so now they don't have to deal with it. And then they can go into this imbalance of thinking they're all light, and therefore their ego mind and this misbelief will stop them from looking into the shadow that has come up again for healing. And sometimes people try to bypass that by saying, maybe it's not me, maybe it's the collective's energy which I'm feeling, which can be true. And or maybe it's not me, it's people around me, it's their energies that I'm feeling and they haven't done their work. And I'm perfect, I'm good, I know I've done my work. So it's beautiful if that's an inner knowing and you're not feeling it. But if there is some energy that you're feeling within you which does not feel like love, light, and you know make you feel good, it means that it needs to be looked into, regardless of whether it's yours or someone else's or the collectives. So really going deep within to see and ask those questions from your guides and from yourself. Where am I holding this energy? And if I'm holding this, is this my energy? You will hear a yes or a no. And really surrender to hear, because the ego mind would want you to say, no, it's not yours, you're all good. But really tap in and say, I want to know the truth of source and nothing less than that. And you will hear the answer. And it might just be, yes, you have this darkness, which is basically, say, an emotion or an anxiety that you haven't dealt with, and that anxiety is coming from something that happened in your life. Okay, and you're like, okay, is this all mine, or am I also doing work for the collective? And they'll say, at the same time, the collective is also healing anxiety, and because you are meant to also be a channel, a vessel to healing anxiety, you're feeling it all the more in your vessel. However, if you tap into your own anxiety and tap back into the seed point to see why you're feeling it, As you release that for yourself and say, oh, that's what happened in my life, I'm okay now, and I'll go back to and explain to that version of me that everything's okay, don't worry about it, let's move on, and you release that anxiety, you alchemize it by turning it into love, and affirmations, whatever works for you. As soon as you do it, you also ripple it into the collective, and you make an intention that wherever that anxiety is sitting in the collective, with the permission of the higher self of the collective, with the permission of soul, whoever is willing to release that anxiety, higher selves allow them to do that. And you're not going to literally be going and pulling out of people. That's something that source and the archangels, ascended masters, the gods and goddesses that we have, beautiful ones here, they go in and they know exactly where that sits, and they tap in with the higher selves, and with permission, respecting all the laws of the universe, they go ahead and they heal it for the collective. And that's how, when you feel like, oh, that feels better, the anxiety is gone, the energy of the collective also shifts. Okay. So, yeah, that's how it works. I hope that this session really helps you to tap into that and see how you can also take those tips from source and work, if it works for you, if it resonates with you, and it helps you with your shadow work, to really go deep within to heal yourself and heal all aspects of you. Therefore, I also wanted to share that when we do body scanning, we don't just scan our seven chakras that we have here in the body, we also scan the Earth Star Chakra. The Earth Star Chakra is below the feet. So you see what is happening there in the Earth Star Chakra, because you're walking on the Earth Star Chakra. It should look bright and beautiful. And it is your connection to the land and the water here on Earth. It is your connection to Mother Earth. It is your connection to your timelines. It is your connection to your tree of life. See, that's how important the Earth Star Chakra is. Very important. Therefore, it's important that it is absolutely crystalline clear. So you look into your Earth Star Chakra and see what's happening there. If there are any negative timelines coming in, dark timelines coming in, you see why they're coming in and you remove them and you heal that, making sure that your tree of life is pure and benevolent, making sure your timelines and everything that you're doing is of benevolence, and that you're standing in your highest power of your source. And when I say power, I mean the power of the love of your being and the sovereignty of your being. And at the same time, you also scan your higher chakras, the soul star chakras, and all the chakras above you, because we've all come from higher dimensions. So you would have all of those chakras. If you're from the 13th dimension, 14th dimension, you would have you're in the third, you would have fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, all the way to the 14th. So just scanning and asking questions to see if there's a blockage in any one of those dimensions. For example, for this client, it was the seventh dimension. And, as she cleared it, that chakra for herself, it it blasts with source energy and it vibrates, and it sends that ripple effect into the 3D version of her here. So that's how the healing gets deeper, and it really goes next level. That's why we say we live in a quantum universe, and energy and healings are quantum healings, because we are all connected to our other fractals, and we are also connected to the rest of the collective, to the beautiful organic of our collective. And also, you'll see in this session that if you don't deal with the organic darkness that you have, and you don't deal with, and you just keep shutting the door, not looking at it, saying it's not mine, and keep ignoring it, it just turns into a bigger mass energy, which just gets denser and denser. As it gets denser, you'll notice that artificial intelligence and entities start to get attached to it. Okay. And we all know, if you're not aware, entities are basically souls that don't have any vessels. Entities can be earthbound entities that are basically souls that are deceased, that have passed over. But they were not able to go to source after they left their vessel. They're still stuck here. And at the same time, we also, need to be aware that there are also entities, there are also other races in this universe, and there are other races living here on Earth. Some of them are trapped in their form as they are in that race. So if it is a reptilian, or it is, another race, some of them are also here without their vessel. So they are also in an entity. So they are also in a soul form, or fractals or fractions of souls, pieces of those souls that tend to attach to people to then basically harvest their light, because the light is getting dimmer by the day because they've distanced themselves from source, or something happened that caused them to distance from source, and the light of the beings that are existing here helps them to stay alive in some form. Okay, so really looking deep into inner healings, shadow work helps us to release these entities. It helps us to release the negative AI attachments, the inorganic, which is attached to the organic darkness, because we can deal with the organic darkness. We just need to make sure that nothing artificial and entities don't attach to it, because then it's just your own energy that you're healing, right? So you need to release, first of all, everything else also that is attached to it that is not of yours, that is not yours. Okay. Um, and that's all I wanted to share. Source speaks beautifully through the client. And there is another segment of this session, which I will see if I'm supposed to share or not. In that segment, I think if I believe Shiva was very clearly sharing some details of, another aspect of healing for the collective. So we'll see if that comes up to be shared in the current now times. So thank you so much for listening in. I send you all infinite love, source love, and blessings to all of you, your beautiful families, to all of you and your beautiful families. Lots of love to you. Thank you. Namaste. We're going to trace back, 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 wherever that was before all of this happened to you. Going back, 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 reversing in time, just before all of this happened. You're there now. Describe to me where you are.
I mean, it almost looks like I'm just not on the ship anymore, but I'm on like that crystalline planet.
Mm-hmm. What do you look like here?
I'm like a young man.
And what are your features?
I mean, I look bluish again. I feel like I'm again like one of those beings that's good in the water and out of the water. I don't know why I have like a lot of fear coming up.
Mm-hmm. How about we let that fear just flow out now? Release it, let the water heal you. Release the fear, and let's see what the cause of the fear is. How about that? How about we get to the root cause of this fear?
I'm
Mm-hmm.
just okay. Swimming balances me.
Mm-hmm.
The fear is in my heart space.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yes. While doing the energy work, they said that there's a dark cloud of fear in the heart space.
yeah, maybe it has something to share.
Yes. Let's see where the center point of this fear is and how it first attached to you. How about we do that now? What happens next to this person, this being that you are? Move the scene along. Let's see where you are next. What happens next? Do you feel you need to go back to see fear, or you need to move forward to see the fear? What are you getting?
I think I just need to ask the fear.
How about we do that? Let's bring up
Yeah,
the fear. Let's talk to the energy of the fear. We'd like to speak with the energy of the fear and have it come up, so we can speak with it and address it. Greetings.
greetings.
Hello. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Can you share with us what is your connection with this being, this blue being? What is your connection with this blue being?
This blue being brought this fear in to help resolve it.
The blue being brought the fear in
Mhm.
to help resolve it.
Yeah,
What was the need to resolve it? Where was it until then?
I feel like I'm lost. I mean, that's the energy.
Your energy or the energy of the fear?
The fear, yeah,
The fear. You feel you're lost?
yes.
Do you remember what your origin point was? Where were you birthed? How did you come into being?
I mean, I feel I'm organic. I mean, I
Where?
heard source, but
Hmm.
I got lost.
But you got lost.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's like I feel like it's just like screaming
Who's screaming?
the fear.
The fear.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like nobody heard it.
Because no
Fe-
one heard it.
Nobody heard it.
Hmm. Have you been screaming for help for a while? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I would like you to take us on a little bit of a journey if you can. We would like to know how you were birthed into creation, this fear energy. And tell me, are you connected to this blue being, or were you always there in creation?
I was there in creation.
Hmm.
I I heard it comes. I come from source. It's like the separation from source.
The separation from source.
Yeah.
So you were always there. How did you connect with the blue being? How did the blue being bring you into their heart? What happened?
Okay, the blue being is a compassionate being, and it agreed to help like process and integrate. But before it could, this is like when the AI came
Mm-hmm.
and used this fear to kind of infect them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm lost in the heart space.
So you were originally organic, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
And you come from the loss of connection from source.
Yeah, it almost feels like I'm spinning out in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
disconnected.
How is it that people attach to you or you attach to people? Well, by people, I mean beings, all sorts of beings. How do you attach to the beings or how do beings attach to you? How does that happen? Can you share with us?
Yeah, it feels like I go to beings that feel disconnected from self, from source. I feel lost with them.
Mhm. What happened to the blue being? You said the blue being was compassionate and brought you in to help bring you to surface. Is that what happened where the blue being
Yeah.
promised to like kind of help you?
Okay, they're explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in a polarity construct. So in the crystalline organic world, that's what beings had the ability to do, is work with the polarity. So he agreed to assist me. It feels like it just got like stopped in the process. And this energy is like very uh, hot, like in my chest. Like, I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
explain.
Yes.
It's like lava moving around.
Yes.
It,
What color is it?
earlier I was seeing blue, but now I feel it more than I see. It's just like it's like it feels almost like like a massive energy.
Mm-hmm. Are you the fear, if I may ask, trying to get more information about this? Are you the fear specifically that is connected to this being, or are you the fear of the collective? How are you? Is there a fear of the collective, of the universe? Like collective fear?
It feels like a universe. Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like a universe in my
Mhm.
chest.
Right. I wanted to know if this is individualized or fear,
No,
or
this is a massive energy.
it's a massive energy.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And then this being was unable to process you and help you. Is that what happened?
it just wasn't complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like us to call upon to help you find your way back to source? Would you like to connect with source once again and be one
Yes.
with source?
Yes.
Okay. Would you allow for us to call source to help you today?
Yes.
Okay. Source, we call upon you to please help us and help this fear of the collective to be taken out of wherever it is lodged within the collective consciousness, within the beautiful being, the blue being in that time and space, and that offered and volunteered to help this collective fear. And wherever else this fear is lodged within the collective, whoever is now ready to release it. Source, if I may speak with you now.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Source. Love you. We are really grateful for this session. What do you suggest we can do with this fear of the collective? How do we um, process it and release it to you?
Acknowledge, witness, and allow it to process through her field
Mhm.
with my presence. And it's
Mm,
already processing.
beautiful. What does that look like when it's processing and feel like?
Um, it came up through my chest, through it came out in tears.
Mhm. Beautiful. Let's have it flow out.
It's mostly out.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Source, are you also releasing it for the collective now?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
This feels like ancient gold.
Thank you. Thank you for releasing it.
Thank you.
And as you release this fear from the collective source, since everything is energy and we don't want an empty void space in it, so just trying to understand what happens to that time and space where the fear was lodged. What is that filled with or turned into?
Back into crystalline energy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to source connection.
Wonderful. Are you able to share with us what percentage of our collective were feeling this fear, or what percentage of the fear has been lifted off the collective?
This is the fear that's in everybody. And when you separate from source, there's a certain level of, and as you separate more, it creates a certain level of wounding to the soul. And so this is rippling all the way down to this dimension. And
Hmm.
it's like it felt like, yeah, the pain of loss.
The pain of loss.
Yeah, but it feels like it translates to the fear of death too.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. What dimension did it begin in?
When it first separated from source. So it's rippling down. It's like, yeah, it's showing me like one being had this thought, and then it just kind of ripples
Mm.
out, and it becomes an experience that then needs to be integrated.
Hmm.
Oh, that's all it was.
Hmm.
This thing that was like an illusion. And
You
it
said
was a,
it's an illusion?
yeah, it's just an illusion of separation. But it's one that
Correct.
needed to be experienced.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very beautifully explained, and it does help to understand because we are aware that at some point, the entire collective consciousness of the universe was one with source as one consciousness. And then when source wanted to experience, as we know, we've seen in different sessions as well, souls that have come from, source that have shared how not the splitting, how the spreading or the expansion of source happened for, the lives that we're leading now, and how they were one collective consciousness where there was no separation, yet they could, within that consciousness, feel each other's individuality, yet they were one together. And as they started expanding and becoming more individualized to experience their individual beingness, and they were separating from source, I recall in some other sessions where they felt this immense sadness that they're not a part of that collective consciousness of the other brothers and sisters where they were one. So
Yes.
a lot of them felt that they were being separated for some time till they experience whatever they have to experience.
Mhm.
Is that what caused
Mhm.
this fear to ripple out?
Yes. And
Okay.
then over time it gets inverted. This illusion of the separation is what allowed the archon to infiltrate and infect. Because beings then believed the illusion. They're pointing to like the antelope being, like this being believes in the illusion of separation more than somebody who's benevolent.
Yes.
So they get caught up in the wound of the separation,
Right.
gets consumed by it. So these beings on this ship are on this planet looking to consume source, not realizing that really all is source.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. At what point within our collective, and we're talking about our dimension, perhaps you can share it about the higher dimensions as well, did the organic fear start getting inverted into becoming artificial or having artificial attachments to it?
At what point?
Hmm. Or what caused it to start having artificial attachments to it?
The illusion of the separation. So they're showing me like the original being that got consumed by the idea of the separation, which made this being be consumed with the idea of power
Mm-hmm.
and like a hatred of God. Yeah, they're saying that the only reason it spread is because enough. there was enough consciousness that believed in the separation.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
yeah.
Thank you for also lifting it off of the collective. If you look at Earth, are there any specific areas in Earth where you found the fear to be more than other places?
Yeah, they were showing me earlier anywhere where there's more of an illusion of separation. So, and they were showing me the medical system as well. Yeah, any place or institution where you place power above self is where the archon could come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good explanation for it. Thank you. Because
Mm-hmm.
it clearly explains it's not just religious. It could be political, it could be social, it could be
Mm-hmm.
educational.
Yes, so in this session they showed me the woman in her schooling. They put archons in the third eye, and they explained to me in the medical system, in the education system, they infect the third eye because as a healer, naturally that would open,
Hmm.
and so they block it.
Right.
Yeah.
For everyone that trains for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Is that why they become more left-brained and more like reliant on their intelligence and
Mm-hmm. Some
um,
do. Some are
some
able to
still
break.
continue to, right?
Yeah, some can break through the illusion and
Yes.
go into their heart. But
That's really beautiful that they do it. And yes, I've personally met so many that do it
yeah,
within the medical community as well, that
yeah,
have been very,
because
very connected to their hearts.
yeah, they can't remove the organic completely.
Yes, correct.
If they did, they would wipe out existence in itself,
Right.
and they would become nothing themselves.
They will become nothing themselves. Correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for explaining so beautifully. Now, have you released all of that fear from the blue being as well as from? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just getting more information.
Go ahead.
So part of like why all this stuff happens is because there's like an unwillingness to really look at the shadow elements of hate, greed, desire, and all those really need to be looked at and acknowledged as also part of source and also deserving of healing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a really important lesson.
This is an important lesson
And
from shadow
everybody
side. Hmm.
everybody has these shadow elements in them. There's nobody walking on this planet that does not, including all those that are like heart-centered and benevolent. So
Correct.
it's
Yes.
just part of being human.
Yes.
And the denial of that is what allows these systems of like control to work so effectively.
Correct. Thank you for sharing such an important lesson in shadow work today, duality, polarity to us. Thank you.
Yeah, and this, I mean, this being that's me needed to hear that because the polarity of it is when like you're benevolent and doing mostly good, it's like you go into separation more from the darkness, and then you deny that the darkness also exists within you. So, so once that illusion completely dissolves, then the polarity actually completely collapses within.
For the time being, because our circumstances change, and is it possible for those feelings to come up again in another time and
Hmm.
space and us having to redo the lesson again, correct?
Correct,
Or perhaps in another way, right?
correct, correct,
Yes.
correct.
Wonderful. This makes so much sense. Thank you so much for sharing. It's wonderful. We're coming towards the end of the year, stepping into the new year, and we're doing this wonderful shadow work and receiving lessons regarding it, which are so important. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'll be able to lift off all of that energy now and send them to be with source, and they can have their lessons directly with source, and then from there they can carry on with their beautiful journeys in this universe upon their own choosing. Thank you.
Yes.